has full control of,
Right.
wouldn't that be more of a solution to try to generate more outskirt type commercial, industrial development strategies that allow people to be congregated to a, for example, say Lutz Lake, Land O'Lakes grows and they become kind of self-sufficient. In other words, there's not a huge ridership because now the residents is in...
Currently, look, the challenge, David talked about, he cited the old Cutter study, Center for Urban Transportation Research, located over at USF, and Cutter's got their own challenges. And I know Dr. Paul Senior, a number of folks who work for Cutter and have done the analysis. But one thing is very clear. Our growth patterns in Florida have not been very smart, and we've grown out. And so what happens is we've grown out to areas in the suburbs where we have different, for instance, if you go to someone who lives in Fishhawk, and you ask them, okay, what do you think about the two-lane, you've got Fishhawk Boulevard that takes you to get into Fishhawk. 20,000, 30,000 people living off a two-lane road. It's ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, there's no strategy to widen that road. There's no money to widen that road. West Chase, same thing. And so when you look at the problem with our current development patterns, the idea is that, and you're seeing this in communities which have invested in transit. It's not just rail, it's bus, and it's also, remember, this referendum, 25% of it goes to road improvements. Now, Dave still can't count because I'm telling you, the U line is not 59 miles. I don't know where you even get that from. It's a 21-mile loop. Check it out, 21 miles. Now, we're talking about perhaps extending it an additional 6. The cost to construct, and he's right, there were cost overruns. In fact, Charlotte, the data he pulled, that came from, but cost overruns, yes. Katrina cost overruns, we saw those. Salt Lake City, we're seeing a far different thing. And right now, construction costs are low.
Mr. Caton, go ahead.
We live in Florida. We live in a mixed, heavily mixed rural, suburban, very loose-knit people. We're different here. We're not like New York City, where the density is 45 times that of Hillsborough County, and where this kind of rail is obviously needed and appropriate. When we this is just it's a bad mathematical issue from the beginning. $2.3 billion to widen I-275. $2.3 billion. Do you know that, 275,000 people drive on that every day? We're looking at spending $4 billion for 24,000 people. Do the math.
3% of our local riders each day use I-275. 3%. There's not a road. We're going to spend $400, $500 million to widen Bruce B. Downs, less than 2%.
Come on,
so I'm telling you, you don't have large numbers of people riding those roads.
Julie.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You joined the task force in 2004?
4.
Okay, so did you not, when you were approving all these homes to be developed with these builders, and you knew there was going to be road construction, did you not see that there was going to be a need for road construction, that we should increase the impact fees and we should increase the permitting fees in order to accommodate our needs now for the increased roads?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not something, now in a crisis time of need, our direst need, you're asking us for 1%?
The projects that we're talking about, we're all, and I'm on the Board of County Commission, I'm responsible. Many of the projects that we're talking about where the current problems exist were projects that were approved over the last 3 decades. It's the pattern of growth. If you see the projects we've been approving recently, since I've been on the board and Brian and the others were there, we've turned down far more projects than we've approved because they've got to meet concurrency. You didn't used to have to meet concurrency. We're now saying you've got to have the road infrastructure before you can build the development project. But the horse is already out of the barn. We've already had the explosive growth. Now we're $16 billion behind on our roads and trying to find a way to fix the problem. And we don't have enough tax money to widen the roads, to improve it. So we're looking for a balanced alternative. And as far as jobs, Yeah, there's a lot of talk about creating jobs based on who will actually build it, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the jobs that will come here in the USF area, out to downtown, the West Shore area, as you provide transportation opportunities. General Dynamics that was going to come to Tampa went to Charlotte for one reason. The mayor spoke to them and said, they don't have a transit plan, we do.
Thank you, sir. Kate, response?
69,000 people in Hillsborough County are unemployed. Do you know how many people filed for foreclosure in Hillsborough County last year? 13,000. Do you know how many filed for bankruptcy in Hillsborough County? 14,000. Do we need another tax?
No.
Absolutely not.
I just cannot imagine, adding that burden to this economy. We are going to be the highest sales tax rate county in the state of Florida. Do you think that's going to make your property values more valuable or less valuable? Do you think merchants will have more retail sales or less retail sales? Who's going to benefit? Polk, Pasco, Manatee, or Hillsborough?
Pasco County's commissioners voted 5-0 to endorse what we're doing. Pasco County commissioners are looking at the exact same thing. And we should talk to them. Here's what we're saying. Governor Sonny Perdue, on the 19th of this month, has already approved allowing in Georgia the legislature to work with local governments to increase their sales tax by 1 cent. I'm just saying.
Next question. Next question.
What exactly is it going to take for them down at the county center to get the message that I will walk, I will ride a bike, I'll do anything to get the debt load off my children and my family?
Kevin, I love Kevin Wright, and I agree with you, but let me tell you, if you walk or ride your bicycle here in Tampa, it's the second most dangerous community for pedestrians, so pick another area. Pick an area to walk or ride your Ferrari.
His life insurance will pay for it. Okay, yes ma'am.
Mark Sharp, do you have an opponent in the next election?
Ma'am?
Do you have an opponent
Yes,
running
ma'am.
against you?
Did everyone hear the question? She asked Commissioner Sharp if he has an opponent in the next election.
Neil Constantino and Melinda Wright, I believe is her name, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yes sir, please.
Both of you gentlemen, if it's such a great idea to put the light rail in, how come the private sector wants the people to pay for it take all the responsibility?
Well, listen, we subsidize roads right now to the tune of billions of dollars. If you paid what it costs to ride on a road, we would have a full-scale rebellion. People talk about the subsidization of the rail line. We subsidize roads. Taxpayers subsidize roads now. That's why Jeb Bush was part of the plan to look at the Central Florida rail deal. You had Republicans who looked at this and said, okay, we've got to find a new way of moving goods and people. All we're trying to find is a quicker, more efficient way to move people spending less money. And around the country, we're not Martians. We're not any different than the people who live in Dallas or Houston or other communities. They've looked at it, they've analyzed it, they've weighed it, and they've said, you know what? We think there's an affordability to investing in transit that makes sense.
Again, why won't the private sector do it?
And the private sector will build the road. The private sector is not going to build an interstate. They don't finance it themselves. It's financed with taxpayer dollars.
I bet you they would if you offered to.
Kate.
Toll roads. We need to replace the word subsidize, because we're not subsidizing anything. We're paying gas taxes that are just supposed to be building our roads, and that's the purpose of the gas tax.